there is a harsh reality that most people avoid confronting. Talent alone has never built greatness. It has never created legacies, never sustained excellence, and never carried anyone to the summit of their potential. Talent is a spark, bright, impressive, seductive, but a spark without fuel eventually dies. And the fuel, the real engine behind every meaningful achievement, is consistency. Consistency is not glamorous. It doesn't look impressive on the surface. It's waking up when you don't feel like it. It's choosing order over chaos, discipline over comfort, purpose over impulse. It's showing up again and again, especially on the days when everything inside you screams for escape. And that's precisely why consistency is more powerful than talent, because it is built on deliberate choice, not accidental advantage. Talent can make you promising, but consistency makes you dependable not just to others, but to yourself. When you become someone who consistently shows up, you begin to reshape your identity. You stop being a person who wants to improve and start becoming a person who does improve. Every repeated action is a vote for who you are becoming. And over time, these small, often invisible votes accumulate into undeniable transformation. There's something profound about the individual who continues to work when no one is watching, when the excitement fades, when the applause goes silent, when the initial motivation evaporates. That individual begins to embody a deeper strength, the strength of self-governance, the strength of reliability, the strength of a person who has tamed their inner chaos long enough to commit to something greater than their fleeting moods. And here's the truth. Talent will fail you the moment life becomes difficult. When challenges strike, when outcomes slow, when discouragement sets in, talent collapses. Consistency, however, grows stronger in resistance. It adapts, strengthens, and sharpens your character. It turns obstacles into teachers and setbacks into fuel. Consistency is not just a habit. It is a philosophy, a declaration that you are willing to show up for yourself even when the world refuses to cooperate. So ask yourself, do you want to be a person carried by the wind of temporary brilliance, or a person forged by the fire of daily discipline? Because the world is filled with talented individuals who never learn to show up. But it is transformed by ordinary individuals who decided they would never stop. Your future is shaped not by what you are capable of, but by what you consistently do. Show up, especially when talent wouldn't. Talent is something you receive without asking for it, and natural ability and inclination, a spark that appears without effort. But this gift, as precious as it is, remains nothing more than potential unless it is refined, shaped, and disciplined. The world is full of gifted people who never learn how to use their abilities, because talent alone does not demand anything from you. It whispers possibilities, but it does not push you toward them. True greatness requires more than what you were born with. It requires a conscious decision to honor that gift with action. Consistency, on the other hand, is never handed to you. It is chosen deliberately, repeatedly, and often painfully. It emerges in the moments when you would rather rest, procrastinate, or hide behind your excuses. Consistency is the quiet, uncelebrated commitment to show up again and again, even when progress seems invisible, even when motivation disappears. Whereas talent is passive, consistency is active. It is the daily choice to align your actions with your goals, even when your emotions disagree. And this choice, made persistently, becomes a powerful force capable of transforming potential into excellence. Your destiny is not written by your abilities, it is shaped by your habits. Every day you make small decisions that reinforce who you are becoming. When you choose consistency over comfort, you are choosing the version of yourself that takes responsibility rather than relying on luck or natural advantage. This transformation happens slowly and silently through repetition, discipline, and endurance. Over time, these choices accumulate, forming the architecture of your character. Destiny is not a sudden miracle, It is the inevitable result of countless disciplined choices. Consider this: talent may open the first door, but consistency builds the entire pathway. A gifted person who refuses to show up will always be outperformed by an average person who shows up every single day. Because consistency breeds experience, and experience breeds mastery. With every repeated effort, you sharpen your skills, strengthen your confidence, and deepen your understanding. Slowly, you rise, not because you were the most talented, but because you refuse to stop. The world may applaud talent, but it respects mastery, and mastery comes only from consistency. In the end, your life becomes a reflection of your choices, not your gifts. Gifts fade when ignored, but choices compound when honored. Consistency transforms fleeting talent into lasting accomplishment. It turns dreams into plans and plans into reality. When you understand that your destiny is not governed by what you were given at birth, but by what you choose to do with it every day, you become powerful. And when you truly commit to showing up with unwavering consistency, you not only shape your destiny, you create it. Success is not reserved for the most talented or the most privileged. It is reserved for the most persistent. Anyone can work hard when they feel inspired, energized, and excited. But motivation is temporary by nature. It rises and falls like the weather. It cannot be relied on to carry you through the long, difficult, uncertain paths that success requires. The people who truly succeed are not the ones who wait for motivation to lift them. They are the ones who move forward even when every emotion inside them tries to hold them back. Because showing up without motivation is a declaration of commitment, and commitment is the foundation of achievement. When motivation fades, your true character is revealed. This is the moment when the battle shifts from external challenges to internal resistance. You begin to face the doubts, fears, and laziness that live inside you. Most people turn back at this point, thinking that the absence of motivation means they are not meant for the journey. But in reality, this is the test that separates dreamers from doers. Those who continue to show up anyway develop a powerful inner strength, a strength built not on excitement but on discipline. And discipline, unlike motivation, is reliable. It does not depend on mood. It does not depend on inspiration. It depends on choice. Showing up without motivation is also an act of faith in your future self. You do the work today not because you feel like it, but because you know what it will give you tomorrow. It's an understanding that progress is often invisible and slow, but never wasted. Every small action, every repeated effort, every disciplined step becomes a brick in the foundation of your dreams. Even on days when you feel you're moving backward, the act of showing up keeps you aligned with your purpose. It keeps the fire alive, even if only as a quiet ember, and those embers, given enough time and effort, turn into flames. People often underestimate the power of average days, the days when nothing exciting happens, when everything feels heavy, and when motivation is nowhere to be found. But these are the days that build champions. These are the days when you're forced to lean on discipline, structure, and long-term vision. When you push through them, you cultivate resilience. And resilience is the quality that allows you to weather storms, endure setbacks, and continue the journey long after others have quit. The ability to work without motivation is a superpower disguised as a struggle. Ultimately, success belongs to those who are willing to be consistent in the absence of inspiration. Because success is not created in moments of excitement, it is created in moments of resistance. When you show up despite fatigue, doubt, boredom, or fear, you are telling the world and yourself that you are unstoppable. You are building a mindset that does not bend with emotion or circumstance. And inevitably, the person who shows up every day, regardless of motivation, will surpass the one who only shows up when it feels easy. Success is earned not by feeling good, but by choosing to move forward anyway. Discipline is the invisible force that turns potential into power. Most people believe that extraordinary achievers are born with something special, a natural brilliance, a rare talent, or some kind of divine advantage. But the truth is far simpler and far more empowering. What separates the exceptional from the average is not talent, luck, or opportunity. It is discipline. It is the ability to create structure in a chaotic world, the willingness to show up day after day, and the courage to do what must be done even when it is uncomfortable. Discipline is the tool through which ordinary individuals build extraordinary lives. When a person commits to discipline, they begin a process of internal transformation. Discipline demands consistency, attention, sacrifice, and focus. It forces you to confront your laziness, your excuses, your distractions, and the countless impulses that keep you from your highest potential. By repeatedly choosing discipline over comfort, you strengthen the part of yourself that is capable of greatness. You build habits that make progress automatic rather than optional. The small daily choices, waking up early, practicing your craft, keeping your promises, following your routines, start shaping your identity. Slowly, you stop being the person who needs motivation and become the person who relies on responsibility. Discipline also expands your capacity for resilience. Ordinary people often crumble under pressure because they lack systems to hold them steady. But disciplined individuals know how to endure, adapt, and push forward even when things get hard. Their strength does not come from temporary motivation. It comes from cultivated endurance. When challenges arise, they don't panic or retreat. Instead, they lean on the routines they've built, the habits they've strengthened, and the mindset they've trained. This resilience becomes a competitive advantage, one that allows them to outlast, outperform, and outgrow everyone who relies solely on inspiration or natural ability. Moreover, discipline creates mastery. Repetition, refinement, and deliberate practice are the essence of excellence. Even a person with average talent can become remarkable if they are disciplined enough to practice consistently and intelligently. Discipline sharpens your skills, deepens your understanding, and increases your effectiveness over time. It turns time into an investment rather than something wasted. In every field, whether it is sports, business, art, academics, or personal development, the champions are not the most gifted. They are the most disciplined. They are the ones who keep improving long after others have stopped trying. In the end, discipline is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter where you begin, how much talent you have, or how many disadvantages you face. Discipline can elevate you beyond limitations. It can turn weaknesses into strengths, dreams into plans, and plans into achievements. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you have the potential to become. It is not glamorous, it is not easy, and it is not always pleasant, but it is transformative. And when an ordinary person embraces discipline fully, they no longer remain ordinary. They become unstoppable enough to rise into extraordinary. Real mastery is not born out of sudden moments of inspiration or rare bursts of genius. Those moments might look impressive from the outside, but they are never the foundation of true excellence. What truly builds mastery is the slow, steady, and often monotonous grind, the daily work that no one sees, no one praises, and no one celebrates. It is the kind of work that most people avoid because it feels boring, repetitive, and unexciting. But that is precisely why it is so powerful. The daily grind shapes your skills in ways that quick flashes of brilliance never can. It engraves strength into your character and precision into your craft. Mastery grows quietly through repetition. Every time you repeat a small task, practice a skill, or refine a technique, you strengthen the neural pathways in your brain that make that action smoother, faster, and more natural. This repetition is the science behind excellence. the slow rewiring of your abilities through constant practice. And though the process feels dull, its impact is profound. Over time, actions that once required effort become instinctive. Challenges that once felt overwhelming become manageable. The small steps you take every day gradually assemble into a level of competence that seems almost magical to those who didn't witness the grind. The daily grind also builds discipline, patience, and resilience, qualities that sudden inspiration will never teach you. Flashes of brilliance might give you moments of excitement, but they disappear as quickly as they appear. They do not teach you how to push through fatigue, how to keep working when progress is invisible, or how to stay committed during long stretches of frustration. But the grind does. It forces you to confront your own limitations and teaches you how to overcome them. It molds your mindset into one that thrives on perseverance rather than emotion, and once you learn to sustain effort without relying on motivation, you become unstoppable. Another reason mastery comes from the grind is that growth is rarely linear. You may put in hours of effort and feel like nothing is changing until suddenly, everything changes at once. This phenomenon happens because progress builds beneath the surface, accumulating quietly until it reaches a tipping point. Many people quit right before that point because they cannot see the results of their work. But those who stay committed to the slow, repetitive process eventually experience breakthroughs that appear sudden, but are actually the result of hundreds of invisible steps. What looks like brilliance is simply consistency disguised as magic. In the end, mastery is a lifelong commitment, not a moment of luck. It is built brick by brick, day by day, through steady dedication and relentless repetition. The greatest musicians, athletes, thinkers, artists, and leaders did not rise because of a single moment of genius. They rose because they kept showing up long after others stopped. The daily grind is not glamorous, but it is transformative. It turns ordinary effort into extraordinary skill. It turns hesitation into confidence, and over time, it turns a person who simply practices into a person who masters. Consistency outperforms talent because it strengthens a person's inner resilience. Talent may give someone a fast start, but consistency determines whether they can survive the inevitable storms that follow. Life will always test you with delays, disappointments, and unexpected challenges. When talent faces hardship, it often collapses because it is used to ease and early praise. But consistency has been forged through repetition, struggle, and small daily victories. A consistent person has already trained their mind to endure discomfort, to push through doubt, and to stay grounded when everything around them feels uncertain. This resilience becomes their real advantage, an advantage no natural gift can replace. Consistency also creates structure, and structure is the backbone of long-term success. Without structure, talent becomes chaotic. It burns brightly but without direction. Consistency builds routines, habits, and systems that keep a person moving forward even when emotions fluctuate. It teaches you how to organize your time, regulate your impulses, and prioritize what truly matters. When you show up every day, you create a rhythm that supports your goals instead of sabotaging them. Structure becomes a silent force that stabilizes your life and keeps your progress steady, reliable, and predictable. Beyond resilience and structure, consistency shapes identity, and identity is destiny. Every time you show up for your goal, you send a message to yourself about who you are. You are not just someone who dreams, you are someone who executes. You are not just inspired, you are committed. Slowly your self-image transforms. You stop relying on temporary motivation because your identity takes over. A person who sees themselves as disciplined will act with discipline. A person who sees themselves as persistent will continue to move forward even when the world provides 1,000 excuses to quit. Identity becomes the driver of action, On the other hand, talent without consistency cannot build identity. A talented person may receive praise, recognition, and admiration early on, but none of these things create a stable foundation. Early success can be misleading. It can convince someone that effort is optional. When challenges come, as they always do, talent alone cannot sustain momentum because the person has not developed the inner habits that support progress. The result is a fragile sense of self that breaks under pressure. Consistency avoids this trap because it grows your identity one action at a time, making you solid from the inside out. Ultimately, consistency outperforms talent because it is the force that transforms potential into reality. Talent may open the door, but consistency builds the entire path that leads to achievement. It is the power that turns dreams into discipline, efforts into progress, and progress into transformation. Anyone can possess talent, but not everyone can master consistency, and that is why the consistent will always surpass the gifted who refuse to show up. Mastery does not belong to the naturally brilliant, it belongs to the relentlessly committed.